In this universe, there are 4 races, or factions. These are the choices you are given when you bring a Capsuleer to life. The Gallente, the Caldari, the Minmatar, and the Amarr. The history of the Caldari State is one forged in blood. A bloody war of succession against the Gallente Federation that lasted nearly a century, and a society where the individual is sacrificed on the altar of corporate profits and industrial output. While to many it may seem that their brutal society should engender discontent, for the Caldari, this adversity has only intensified their loyalty to the state, even if it is to an ideal to which the reality falls far short. The genesis for the militarism of the Caldari begins here, at Caldari Prime, within the Gallente capital system of LUMINAIRE, after years of perceived mistreatment by the paternalistic Gallente. The Caldari declared their independence when the Federation demanded the Caldari turn over a collection of colonies established secretly over hundreds of years. A tense standoff ensued until a group of Caldari nationalists bombed an underwater Gallente city on Caldari Prime. The Gallente reprisal was swift and fierce. As a right-wing government seized control of the Federation, they launched a brutal attack, engaging wide-scale bombardments of Caldari Prime from orbit, killing millions of the planet's inhabitants. Only the heroic actions of the legendary Caldari Admiral Tovil Toba prevented the complete scouring of the planet when he bought time for the evacuation. This memorial in orbit around Caldari Prime serves as both a reminder to the Caldari of the heroism of their navy and the price paid by their people for their independence, as well as a reminder to the Gallente of the tragedy their government once created here. For almost a century, the monument was part of the long détente between the two great empires. But in YC-110, that peace was shattered when Caldari forces, under the command of Tybus Heth, who had seized control of the state, surged through the Gallente frontier, smashing the picket fleet in Algogi and pushing into LUMINAIRE. Here, the Gallente Home Defense Fleet made a desperate stand against the overwhelming Caldari forces during the One-Day War. Despite their valiant efforts, they were unable to hold back the tide, and the Caldari launched their invasion of Caldari Prime. This graveyard, the wreckage, serves as a testament to the bravery of the Gallente defenders and the strength and savagery of the Caldari invasion force. It is a somber place. There are still thousands of dead lost here, their recovery prevented by clouds of dangerous debris and hazardous material. For 5 years it stood as a constant reminder of the threat posed by the Caldari Titan. It was inevitable that the situation could not last. In the year YC-115, the Federation launched a counterattack against the Caldari occupation force in orbit around Caldari Prime. After hours of fighting, the Gallente managed to destroy the Caldari supercarriers, acting as a defensive screen around the Caldari Titan, and hammered away at the Shigeru itself. As it moved into low orbit over the planet below, her commander, Admiral Yanala, refused an order by Tybus Heth to unleash the fury of the Leviathan's doomsday weapon upon the planet itself. Despite her actions, however, the death of the Shigeru resulted in widespread devastation. Even from orbit, the impact crater of the huge starship is visible on the surface of Caldari Prime, a glowing scar. This event, and the madness of Tybus Heth's order, spurred the Caldari to reject the Provist fervor that had gripped them since YC-110, and has once again brought tensions between the two nations to a simmer from the boil of Operation Highlander. That does not mean that the war between the Caldari and the Gallente is over. And perhaps no one else in the cluster understands the axiom that is the price of peace of eternal vigilance like the Caldari. Here in ASTOH, in the Black Rise region, this shipyard serves as a reminder that the Caldari have taken this to heart. This shipyard serves as both an assembly yard for new ships for the Caldari fleet, as well as a refitting station for those damaged in combat, and a way station for those making their way from Black Rise to the core systems of the state. Within its dry docks, cruisers and battleships alike are serviced by Navy personnel, and many higher-ranking Navy officers use it as a temporary staff office between deployments. Because of its importance to the defense of the Black Rise region, a formidable Caldari fleet guards the shipyard, including a Chimera-class carrier, one of the few in a permanent deployment to high-security space outside of Caldari Navy or megacorporate stations. The Caldari, like all of the major empires, also maintain a few select outposts in nullsec. One of them, here in the Vale of the Silent, is a listening post under the constant watch of First Sergeant Hakiro, who patrols the area in his Caracal-class cruiser. The exact purpose of this post is unclear. Its location in G5ED TAC-Y places it in proximity to a number of Capsuleer empires, as well as the frontier with the Guristas in the northwest. The presence of the Caldari Navy in nullsec has not gone unnoticed by the denizens of the nearby regions. The Guristas have set up a number of outposts in neighboring systems themselves to keep an eye on the Caldari, and the infamous Serpentis Commander Blackjack has also been deployed to keep the Caldari from getting too comfortable. With all of this attention, it is no surprise that Sergeant Hakiro is known to hire Capsuleers for assistance on occasion, using them to get where he cannot in this hostile space. Finally, we come to one of the most mysterious sites within the Caldari State. Here, in the IENAKKAMON system of Black Rise, a massive derelict drifts in the vastness of space. While such things are not entirely uncommon after hundreds of years of interstellar colonization, there are few of this scale. This is a ghost titan, a dozen kilometers long, a ship which once had a crew of 10,000. The strangest part of this wreck is that it is not a Caldari Titan, or even Gallente, who are constantly battling for control of the system. It is a Minmatar Ragnarok class Titan, the pride of the Republic fleet. How it got here is a mystery, especially when it appears to date from before the year YC-110, when the Black Rise region was opened up for use by the Caldari State. Prior to that, the Black Rise region has been considered inhospitable, making travel through it dangerous, if not entirely impossible. What the Ragnarok, which has been christened the Solitaire by locals, was doing here is a mystery. No sign remains of her massive crew, and perhaps more ominously, the ship's doomsday device also appears to have vanished from the hull. Next time, we'll take a look at the origin of the Solitaire, the Minmatar Republic.